Hey friends, thanks for checking out this session of Family Storytime on race and diversity. I'm here at the Red Bank Public Library and my name is Sira Williams, and I'm glad you're here because there's so many things to talk about in the world these days. And I'm actually going to zoom in a couple of young people to add to our conversation after I read our story today. But I do first want to bring up some of those things that are going on in the world that are really upsetting. Brought my globe so I can show you where this new conflict is between Israel and Palestine. And I think it's really scary. It's really scary and it's heartbreaking. And so is the war in Ukraine that continues to go on after a year and a half. And this is the thing, whether you know it or not, there are war-torn areas around the world, in Africa, in Asia, in South America. And there are just many, many places where it's very, very difficult for children and families and people to live lives that are anywhere near the ones that we enjoy here. And so when you read about or see these things online, I hope that you take a moment to really be thankful for how very, very lucky we are, because our lives here are relatively unchanged by the things that go on the other side of the world. And what you need to remember is that we can't forget about them, and we can't forget about the suffering and hardships that people are going through. And so I really hope that you are able to find a way to have conversations with each other about these important and serious issues with your families. That's the whole point of this program, to encourage you to talk with each other, to have ongoing conversations, and to share your thoughts and ideas and feelings and experiences in a way that's right for your family and a way that reflects your family's values. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like for people who choose to leave those troubling situations in their homelands and come to America to find more opportunity and a better life. And people who do that are called immigrants. And so here's something you can also talk about, is talk about your immigrant story, because your family, unless you're Native American, your family came here from somewhere else in the world. Now, it might have been a couple hundred years ago, or it might have been in recent history, or maybe you're even the one who came here from somewhere else as a young person with your family. But this is something for you to talk about. When did your family come here, and why did your family come here? What made them leave their native land and come to America? Because there was something, and it was a big thing, because that's a major decision and a big undertaking. So what was it? That's a good conversation for you to have. And today we're going to focus on that in the context of Hispanic Heritage Month, because this is the month for us to celebrate all the contributions that Hispanics have made to our society. You know, Hispanics are the largest ethnic minority in the United States. So we're celebrating those who speak Spanish, whose family history comes from Latin America. There it is. Because sometimes we have a tendency to judge people who are not like us. We talk about this all the time in this program. Speak a different language, eat different foods, look differently, have different skin color. It's not right to judge other people when you don't know them. And so we want to celebrate. And we're going to talk about the concept of walking in somebody else's shoes. Have you heard this expression before? Before you judge somebody, walk a mile in their shoes. Now that doesn't mean ripping the shoes off their feet and going for a hike. No, 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 no. It means using your imagination, thinking, really focusing on what it might be like to live their life. What do they go through? What is their life like, so that you can understand their experience and their thoughts and their feelings, and relate. Find ways to relate to each other so that we can live together. Let's do this really quickly. Do you know anybody in your community who might be new to America? Maybe somebody at your school? I bet you do. Let's think about, what would it be like if you had to leave your home and go to a country where they don't speak your language, where they don't eat your food, where the culture is different? What do you think that would be like? How about going to school in that situation and having to make new friends? Don't you think that would be hard? What would you miss about your home? What would you miss about America? How do you think you would feel? I think I would feel both excited because you're going to have new adventures and new opportunities, but I know I would also be nervous and probably scared. And so that makes me believe that anybody who goes through that must be very, very brave. Don't you think? Well, let's read a story now about a girl and her family's experience in coming to America. The book is called Areli is a Dreamer, and it's a true story by Areli Morales and illustrated by Luisa Uribe. All right, let me get situated so we can read our book. So this book is different because there's an author note right at the beginning before we even get to the story. That means there's something important for us to know. So I'm going to read just a little bit of it, okay? It says, I was a child of two worlds, a Mexican citizen by birth, but raised as an American. The transition to life in America when I was only 6 was very difficult for me, but the love from my mother, father, and brother made it bearable. Still, living as an undocumented immigrant is scary, and my childhood was filled with secrets and struggles. So here she's talking about being an undocumented immigrant, and we're going to find out what that means in the story, okay? And also just know that there's a few Spanish words in the beginning of the book, and if you don't understand them, that's okay. You'll still understand what's happening to Areli. So let's start. At Abuela's house, Saturdays were filled with family and sunshine. Areli was good at playing al escondite, and even better at chasing chickens. She could outrun her big brother Alex and their primas. When evening came, she sat around a noisy table and ate mounds of tortillas and pollo con frijoles for supper, her favorite. Bring, bring. On Sundays was different. Areli and Alex sat in the stuffy living room waiting and waiting for the phone to ring. It's your mama and papa, said Abuela, from America. Hola, mama. Hola, papa, said Areli in a small voice. Hola, mi niña, said mama. Did you get the toys we sent you, asked papa. Papa always asked about the toys. Sí, said Areli. Gracias, mama. Gracias, papa. Mama and papa had been away so long they felt like strangers. When are you coming home, she asked. But she knew the answer. Oh, mija, we can't come back to Mexico, said mama. We're trying to get you here to America with us. Your mama and I dream of the day we will all be together, said papa. We will send for you soon, I promise. When Areli hung up the phone, Alex tried to make her smile. Mama and papa think about us all the time, he said. They're working hard, mija, Abuela said, for all of us. They want us to have a better life. But why will Alex go to America first and then me, Areli asked. Abuela had told her the answer many times. Alex was born in America, so he can come and go. You were born here, so it's harder for you. How hard? But Abuela didn't answer. Instead, she wrapped Areli in her arms. Your mama and papa want you all to be together as a family. But they weren't all together as a family that year. Mama and papa didn't come back for Areli's birthday, or Dia de los Muertos, or even Navidad. Then one night, Alex took out his suitcase. Where are you going? Areli asked, but she already knew. You know where I'm going, Alex said. I'm going to Nueva York. He flashed her a big grin and gave her a drawing of the two of them in the yard with chickens. So you won't forget me, he said. A few days later, he was gone. Now when Areli waited for calls from Mama and Papa, she had to wait alone. That fall, Areli started kindergarten at the school near her abuela's house. She was so proud to be at school. She learned to tie her shoes and write the letters of the alphabet, and she played al escondite with her new friends. She barely thought of Nueva York at all. Until the day Abuela greeted her with tears in her eyes. Areli, mija, you're leaving us, she said. Your mama and papa are sending someone to take you to New York to live with them at last. Abuela's voice was shaking. I don't want to go to New York, Areli said. I want to stay here with you and my friends and my home. Please don't make me go, Abuela. If I could take care of you here, I would, my sweet, but I'm old and there's no future for you in Mexico. You don't understand now, but someday you will. The next Saturday night's dinner was very sad. Areli said goodbye to her cousins. She said goodbye to her friends. She said goodbye to the mountains and the chickens. I'll never forget you, she said. On Sunday morning, Abuela woke Areli at dawn. They held each other very tightly. A man with kind eyes was waiting for Areli in the doorway. This man is a friend of your mama and papa, and he will take you to America, Abuela said. Come, Areli, he said. Areli stayed where she was. The man was a stranger to her. Be brave, Areli, Abuela said. Areli gave Abuela one more fierce hug. I love you, mija. I love you, Abuela, said Areli. And then she left for her new country. You see the journey she took? On a truck, on a train. She traveled until, I think, here, she's in New York. Mama cried very hard when she saw Areli. Areli ran to her, but Mama didn't look like her picture at Abuela's house. Her hair was different color and it was curly, and Papa had lines around his eyes. They held each other for a long time. Areli did not want to let go. Areli, Alex said, you made it. I can't wait to show you our house. Alex was a lot taller, but he still had a smile that spread ear to ear. Everything in New York was bigger and faster and noisier than the mountains. It wasn't home at all. Areli had to go to school, but the teachers did not know her name. She couldn't speak English, and when she tried, the words came out all wrong. She made friends with the other girls who could speak Spanish, but she couldn't stop kids from teasing her. Areli's an illegal. They should take her back to Mexico. Areli can't read. She's so backward. Her mom cleans my house. She's our maid. Areli was ashamed. She had never felt this way before. No te preocupes, Areli, her friend said. No pueden hacerte daño. When she went home that night, Areli asked her mother what the kids meant when they said she was illegal. Illegal means against the law, her mother began. I'm not against the law, Areli said. Of course you're not, said her mother, but you were born in Mexico, so even though you're growing up here in America, you are not a citizen of this country. Do I get to be a citizen someday? Asked Areli. I hope so, mija. I hope so. Her mother wouldn't say anything else, so Areli asked Alex why she needed to be a citizen. If you're a citizen, you can do whatever Americans do, he said. What if I'm not? Areli asked. She wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. Then I guess you could be taken back to Mexico, said Alex. He wouldn't look at her. Without us. Areli didn't understand, but she knew she should stay quiet about her first home in Mexico. She didn't want to be sent back to Mexico all by herself. She did not want to break the law just by being who she was. Areli had to work extra hard to learn her lessons in a new language. It wasn't easy. But by second grade, she could count by fives. In third grade, she learned about the Constitution. By fourth grade, she could write a book report and read it out loud. Pretty soon, it was hard for Areli to remember how the sun shone on the mountains at Abuela's house. Now she spoke English like any other girl from America. She played jump rope games and watched TV shows. She and Alex could get anywhere in the city on the subway. They rode the F train all the way to Coney Island, where she saw the ocean for the first time. And every 4th of July, she was mesmerized by the fireworks in the sky. She was a New Yorker. In the 5th grade, Areli's class went on a field trip. They got on a boat and sailed to the Hudson River. Areli's heart beat fast to see Ellis Island, where so many immigrants had come before her. On the tour of Ellis Island, Areli learned a lot. More than 12 million immigrants passed through here on their way to America, the tour guide said. Almost every one of us has family that came to this country from a foreign land. On the boat ride back home, Areli thought about the tour guide's words. She pictured the millions of other people who had made the long journey to America and how Lady Liberty welcomed them with her shining torch. She did not feel illegal. She felt like she was part of something very big. On Saturday, she called her abuelo in Mexico. Are you working hard? Abuela asked. Very hard, said Areli. She told Abuela all about Ellis Island. Those immigrants are part of America. Remember when you said I might have a brighter future here, Abuela? I think I understand now. And I think you were right. That night, Areli looked out over the lights of New York City and dreamed of what she might do someday. She might be a writer and tell her story. She might be a teacher and help children who found themselves in this new land. I could do anything here, Areli said to the city sky. Someday, I will. That's the end. So I think this book does a good job of helping us to get into Areli's shoes a little bit and understand her experience. You see how hard it was for her to leave her home in Mexico and to go to school when she didn't know how to speak English and have other kids make fun of her. Those were difficult situations, and she had to be really brave and tough to handle them, but she did it. And over time, she grew a lot and she learned a lot, and eventually she began to feel as American as any other kid in New York City. And that's saying something. And so this is why I'm excited actually to talk to these two young ladies who go to Red Bank Regional High School. They grew up in our town, and at Red Bank Regional, they are members of the Dreamers Club, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their stories and what that club is all about.
Okay, thank you girls for joining me today on this program. I'm really happy that you're here. Do you want to tell the kids a little bit about, just introduce your first name and tell us a little bit about you? And I also want to know about the Dreamers Club at Red Bank Regional.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. So my name's Madeline. I'm a senior at RVR and I'm the secretary of RVR Juniors. I would describe the Juniors Club as a safe space for both students who may not have been born in this country or people who support their backgrounds. Like they don't mind if they're not US citizens. They want them to receive the same opportunities that any US citizen would get.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of events and help around the community, mostly in Red Bank because most students in the club are from Red Bank, and there's a lot of people in Red Bank whose parents may not have been born in the country.
That's great.
Hello, my name is Edith. Um, I'm a senior. I go to RBR, Red Bank Regional High School. I am the president of the Dreamers. The Dreamers is an amazing club for everyone. Everyone's welcome. That's the most and number one thing we want to do, and it's our most important thing is that everyone feels safe and feels somewhere included and be included with everything, with mostly like Hispanics when they go to a big school and they don't know they're not speaking their language, and that's a safe place where we can talk their language. Any like questions people have, or we do some volunteering work. Like Madden said, it's mostly in Red Bank. Since I live in Red Bank, she lives in Red Bank, and mostly all the members are from Red Bank.
Okay, so I heard a couple of things that I want to ask you about. So are there a lot, first of all, are there a lot of students that are new to the country that only speak Spanish or speak mostly Spanish and very limited English?
Yeah,
We have like probably like five, we will say.
handful
Five.
of kids whose first language is Spanish,
Uh-huh.
and they do get some support at school because they have like ESL classes, and their um I guess trajectory is just based on those classes that are taught in Spanish, but they do learn like English and math and stuff like that.
So I heard you talk about being welcoming, which I want to hear some more about, and also about creating a safe space. And that, when you say that, makes me think that there are maybe unsafe spaces. Like, are people, what kind of experiences um, might people have outside of that safe space?
Well, in the club, we try to make activities working with one another. Uh, get to know one another mostly. Like when it's our first meeting, we do this yarn game where we just throw the yarn around and someone tells something special about them or something they love or do, something they would like to share. Try to do much activities together, include everyone. Um, Sometimes we take snacks to the club, and it's just most of all, you're meeting people, you're talking to other friends that you might not even thought you would talk to, and then you start seeing that you have things in common. Like Madeline and I wouldn't talk before, as well as the other members of the Dreamers, Betsy and Selena. I met them. I met them before. We would go to school since primary school, and we have never talked in our lives
Wow.
until sophomore year. Until sophomore year, I joined the Dreamers. There were already members there. And we had this amazing opportunity to go to Washington. We were in a room together, and that's how our friendship started going on.
Aw. Now you're friends for life.
Yeah, pretty much. What's the saying? The for good, for bad, for life, something like that.
For good, for bad, for life.
Aw, I love that. But it is so true that once you start spending time with people, no matter where they come from, you learn the things that you have in common, and it's great to make new friends. So I'll ask you that advice. Is there anything that kids can do, other kids who are younger than you, who may not have the Dreamers Club, like how can we be welcoming to new people that we meet who, who may be new to our country? You have any ideas?
Probably maybe explore different cultures to kind of get that idea that like a culture is like really different from yours, or like really, I guess, strange. Kind of think of it more of just like it's a different way of seeing the world, and it's not necessarily like bad compared to your own culture. It's just like different. So definitely learning more about other cultures that exist outside of your little bubble, and then also, I guess, try to connect with other people like in your own community who have those different cultures, and kind of talk to or ask them questions about what they do differently from you, and then maybe in those differences you can see some similarities too.
That's great.
Something too would be if you're seeing someone that needs help, always help. Like if you're seeing someone that is struggling with something, or you just see them by themselves, everyone goes through something different. You might think, oh, well, we're the same age and everything, and everyone's life is different, and mostly since they're younger, no one knows what they're living. So if you just see them struggling with something, or probably with like a color, or let's just say they want to play around something, or just they have difficulty with a subject in like in school, just help them out. If you understand them, help them out. If you both don't understand it, just go together and just go with it together. Don't if you see someone struggling, go and help them. It's always the little things, most of it.
That's important all the time, right? So I think that's good advice. And I think even if you don't speak the same language, there's so many things that kids like to do, no matter where you come from, whether it's playing a video game or playing soccer or doing art. Those are ways that you can do things together and find connections and, get to the point where you do want to grow your circle and make some new friends. So, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I know it was something new and different, but I think just seeing you as big kids doing big things is exciting and inspiring for, the younger people here in town. So I really appreciate you and the time that you took to join us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm just so happy that those young ladies were able to spend a little time with us. I want to apologize to Madeline because I should have had her on another computer on the Zoom. I don't think you could hear her well here in my office, but she's a great volunteer for the library and she's doing such good work, and so is Edith with the Dreamers at Red Bank Regional. And one thing that Edith said I want you to take with you is that when you see somebody who's struggling, who's having a hard time, who maybe is not fitting in or who needs help, I want you to try to be the person that steps up to help them. And it takes a little bit of confidence and bravery on your part to do that, to reach out to somebody that you don't know, but it will make a world of difference for that person and lift them up, and it will be an example to all those kids out there who look to you and who look up to you. So give it a try. I'm going to give you a little peace and love to take with you. I made a lot of it today. So take some. The world needs it right now. Please pass it on and on and on and on. All right. Take care of yourself, everybody. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.